All right, good evening. I had some rituals to do tonight. Mostly thank you rituals for some positive developments in a case I'm working with a friend of mine. So, so I thought might as well show how I'm doing with that, and then also want to talk a little bit about some other stuff tonight. Somewhat going over the same conversation we had last week, but from a different point of view, and yeah, I think it's just where we're going to go with that tonight. So what we have here on the left, are including these two long pieces of incense here, are there for the ancestors that are helping with this case that we're doing, and it's just going to be a general offering. I will have to silently call some of them here, at least with regards to their names. Although I've already sent a ping, if you will, out to one of the stronger ones who's helping organize some of this stuff. And then also with that is a fox spirit, which is what this red candle's for and why Huxian is on the table. And then she also requested this stick of incense. This is aloes wood, and this is aloes wood and wormwood. For that, get this. We will also be burning some of these offerings. Zhao Gongming was also part of that, helping to change the fortune of this case. So he has offerings that are there on the right, and there in the back, my little soldier is a spirit I'm working with right now that I am bolstering, but we'll get to that. All right, it was indicated to me that I should go ahead and do the ancestors first, and so therefore I will. So what are they going to get? They're going to get a partially charged candle, which I'm going to do now. Okay. And they're going to get these 2 sticks of incense, but no blood, because I don't really know them. But since they are here now, both the mother-father side from both targets. So these offerings are for you. Thank you for everything you've done. We've seen a lot of progress in this area. Thank you so much. It's very obvious that the synchronicities, which hadn't happened in the past and now happen in short supply, are part of the work that you are doing, and ask that you please continue. Thank you, and please accept these offerings from me for your benefit. Okay. If this candle flame were larger, then I would burn the ingots, these little paper ancestor money ingots, in that, but they aren't. So it's not quite big enough. It's going to take more juice, I think, than. No, maybe I'm wrong. I'll take that. Okay. Go ahead and let those burn. All right. So one of the things that we had kind of started talking about last time, the conversation is going to kind of jump around a little bit as I make offerings. But one of the things we talked about last time was how separation of the spirits upon death and things like that. And you're not going to get around. There's no way to there's no real non-dogmatic answer, if you will, to some of these things, including this, because some cultures believe that it happens almost immediately. Others believe it takes so many days, but they don't really know how. Well, some will tell you they know exactly how many days, and I don't think I've ever found those to be. I've never matched that up with my experience with the dead. So I suppose I don't really need this now. Okay. It may match up with their belief system, but it just doesn't match up with mine. Like, there's some that think that the soul only lives for like 3 days, and then it's gone. And it kind of depends on how they're going to define the soul. To be frank, because we were talking about the splitting, and this isn't. This is. Well, there are spiritual paths that believe in this. That the higher self is then moved on to continue, and then the ego, what they'll usually term as the lower selves, is what kind of stays behind and degrades over time. So that's where some of your angrier spirits kind of come from. But how long that can take seems to vary. Some really old spirits that I know weren't really magicians or anything like that. Some of them weren't even particularly spiritual, and they're still here. So others are more like husks. There are spirits that I've met that died somewhat recently, and they were almost, I'll say, halfway degraded, right? So I don't really have an answer as to timeline. If I did, that would just be my opinion based on my experiences, and that's all it should be taken as, right? But that does dovetail with some of the work I'm going to start doing here too, with that solder actually. So okay, that's done. So let me move these to the side a little bit. Partially so it's harder for me to knock them over. And let me get to Huxian. Huxian, Red Fox Immortal, thank you for the work that has been done with that couple that we are working on. Your spirit seems to be doing really well. Thank you for that, and please accept these offerings for you. Okay. She was basically gonna not say anything. It's kind of like a little joke on me, so that's fine. She did request. Well, I offer blood to her. I've done it in the past. I'll do it for her again. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. So I'm gonna do that, and then ask her if she wanted any of my oils on there. So we have a Belladonna's Botanical oil here that I'm going to use on it. And I'll be using another one of her oils later for spirit inside of that doll solder, which is non-human. It's a non-human spirit. Something there. Some people categorize them as human or not, but they're more that aren't than are, right? So I don't know if that's a good way of distinguishing that, but I suppose you can. All right, and since this is a real sensitive, let me see if you can see it. This is a really sensitive incense stick. right? So what I do is I'll turn it and not really apply much of any pressure at all, and then you get a little, you probably can't see it, but you get a little candy cane stripe there. I think I can see it there in the picture. It's pretty small, so all right. Anyways, that's what I would do. It works pretty well with these little joss sticks of incense because they break really easily, and that kind of sucks. So here we go, and yep. Kate is something I can't read the top right now, so. Ooh, shit. Alright, there we go. Oiled, blooded, and abused. Alright. It's done. Okay. Thank you again, O Great Fox Immortal. Please accept this offering for your continued support and for the support you've given. Okay. Alright, the offering's been made. So now I will move her statue out of the way. Move her offering a little bit out of the way. Then we'll move the Zhao Gongming. You don't know, lady. Here. Suppose I can let you see a little better. Okay. All right. Hail to you, Zhao Gongming. Hail and thank you for the work you've done to help change the situation around, changing the fortune that has been done in the past. Potentially helping make it into a productive future. You said you did not want any oil, but you would accept blood. So that's what I'm going to give you. Okay, this is just a gold candle I got off of Amazon. I actually got these candles for something else that I just never ended up doing, so that works. Alright, now I do need this. Hail to you, Zhao Gongming, and thank you for the help you've given. These are the offerings that you requested when I said I would give you some. Enjoy, my lord. Okay. I guess I don't need this after all. Hail Zhao Gongming. That actually might get little flies. Turn it down a little bit. Okay. Thank you, Lord Zhao Gongming. All right, we've just got one thing left here, which is kind of what the conversation is really going to be about. And that is the spirit inside this doll. Okay. All right, so going back to the conversation we were having about the separation of the spirit and the bolstering and whatnot. Kind of one thing that I've been led to start looking into, and eventually I was just flat out told you really need to do this, and so I am. But there were spirits that I've bolstered before, but they were largely, I guess I can't say they were largely humans. I have bolstered humans before. It's kind of a bit of a tricky thing to do to try to get right. And when you're working with humans, you don't necessarily want to get it wrong. You know what I mean? And part of the thing that bothered me before is that I'd started picking up on that whole separation thing, but I didn't quite know, oh, the ego's staying here and the higher self is going elsewhere. Because that's still, you can still consider that UPG, even if it has several thousand years of, in that belief, from different but related societies. And so it kind of had an ethical issue to it also, because you don't want to get wrong, and at some point you're not going to get it 100% right, but you don't, as long as you just don't get it wrong, you know what I mean. It could help some, and so I've kind of been tiptoeing around it. I have done it before, and one thing you notice is that some of these, a lot of these human spirits that are like starting to degrade a lot, don't have that human spark in them much anymore at all, and it's significantly subdued, and that's a separate that's a separate thing. But this spirit here, though, was never human. I have met it. The ritual I did for it was with hell. I don't think it's public. I don't think it's public, but I think it's just unlisted. But anyways, I did that, and so what I'm doing here is I don't want to give it blood because I don't really know how it's going to react quite yet. It's still it is a formed spirit. It's not nebulous or things like that, but it's being fed slowly by me, and that's because I want to watch its growth over time. And so one of the things that I decided I was going to do was that I could send energy into it directly, and I've been going that route. with small amounts. But then I got kind of a nudge from hell earlier today that I should probably maybe do it some other way also, right? I can do it that way, but part of it is that she didn't want. She was a little bit concerned that it would get used to feeding from me, right? And that could have consequences later on. Not necessarily maybe with this spirit, but if that becomes my practice. And so she suggested actually that I use a candle and put energy into the candle. And there are a couple ways that we can do that. If we just want to use the candle, the materials of the candle, the energy in there, I can do that. I'm going to add some of this oil to it. Asked her which kind, and so I'm using Belladonna Botanicals Ave Satanas oil, which is the same stuff, not the same bottle, but the same stuff I used for the Kazdea. And so I'll be coating this candle with that, and I'll put a charge into the candle too. But the options are that I can supercharge the candle and then only burn a little bit at a time, or I can, I have about 130 of these things, so, and they're 3-hour candles. So what I'll probably do is I'll just put a light to medium charge into it and then not condense it, and go that way so I can measure the progress, because I need to see kind of how much energy it's going to take to get the results that I want. And once I'm tonight I'll be doing another ritual actually to with this item. I might as well show you. I've had this for bought it before Halloween, and I've still got it. It's got a piece of plastic in it. Hold on. And all it is a cheap felt green foam skull. That's all it is. So I'll be putting, I should say, attaching something to that tonight. A human or former human, and going that route to also be working on that. And and I'll have another ritual tonight where I have to talk to, I think it's Valifor. Yeah, Valifor for week 6 of the 76-week Goetia. So, lots to do, but let's go ahead and get this going here. So, I don't know what the field of view is in here. Okay, good. Okay, should work with that. All right, that should work. Like I said, no blood, because I don't know how it's going to react. I mean, I'm not anticipating issues, or not, but I kind of want to know with and without blood, because if I publish this stuff and make it so that make it in ways that other people can use it, that's partially why we're using the candle route. Because once I have one spirit trained to do what I want it to do, then I can have it train others. See? So, here we go. All right. So one of the things I did want to bring up, though, well, first let me get this going before I go off on another tangent. See why I clean stuff up? Because I do stuff like that. All right, buddy. All right. Here. Originally, he was back there by by the candle, and that was probably going to be a bad day, right? So, all right. First, I need to let him know. It already knows, but I need to formally let him know. It doesn't have a name. But I just told it and linked it to this candle here so it can take energy from this 3-hour candle here. And then, otherwise I would just do a speech, say, spirit in the doll, the soldier, this candle, and the energy enter for you. Use it to bolster yourself that you may become stronger for both my and your own purpose. All right. Now, I'll probably just move these back. I guess I don't really need to. But so, yeah, what I was about to say was that all these spirits are going to be, these are all consensual spirits. I don't feel like doing the dick move of forcing them. You know, it's not like the corks where it's agreed upon that if these spirits are, some of these spirits are bad enough that they're better left kind of locked away rather than out there causing active trouble. So these are going to be a little bit different because I don't want to, one, I don't want to bolster a spirit like that, but two, I don't want to turn a spirit that way, or they would get that way after being juiced up some. You know what I'm saying? So, because eventually these, you know, the goal is to get these things to move, and or to cause things around them to move, similar to poltergeist experiences. So that is the end goal, and oops, this one went out. So that is the end goal, and part of that is because I want to work on training spirits as well. And so one of the things that I've wondered in the past is that, okay, spirits can learn to move things on their own, you know, depending on how much juice they have, how much juice is in the environment, because that also matters. And but how would I go about giving them this skill or something like that, right? Because I mean, you could play a little, you could be a little mischievous with these things. That's kind of what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for. Mischievous but not dangerous things. That's why I'm being cautious with their growth. And that's also why I want to curate the type of spirits and see how they grow. And because if I force it in there, then it's going to get pissed anyhow. You know what I mean? And then that's a bad situation to put somebody in. So the difference between like these and the cork spirits is that the cork spirits are not really being worked with. They're not being advanced. I mean, they could be, but mostly when those spirits are put into corks, they're in those corks for a reason. Even if they aren't like the super dangerous ones, they're in there for a reason. And I mean, I don't choose who goes into it. They kind of do that. They present the spirit, and I tie it in. And I don't know anything about the spirit until I start putting it into the cork after they've presented it here. So these are more for not quite familiars like the other ones, but these are I pick, right? I pick, I train, and bolster it up. Because I also want to see how these things go. Because you know, if they're good enough, if I find one that's like really beneficial, you know, wants to do a lot of good for others, then you know there may be the potential for adding a spark or renewing it. You know, I mean, that's possible. The closest thing I've done to this actually is the oh damn it, what's the name of the thing? I did it with the chicken bones with Paley's Grimoire, right? There was an ancestor worship thing within Unahipili. Unahipili. The Unahipili ritual. It's pretty similar, but instead of animals, I'm using just other things this time around. But I suppose that's pretty similar though. I have a chicken that runs around here and eats lesser parasites. So that I've been working with on that. So I guess yeah, there is some precedence for what I'm doing, but at least within regards to my practice. But here we're kind of taking it to a different level for a different purpose. And I bought this doll specifically to put a spirit. I say in it, but with it's probably the better term. Because they're houses, they're linked to them, but they aren't bound in them. So it's not like you touch it and then all of a sudden that frees the spirit. And the spirit could come out if it wants to, and go about it that way. So we'll do that, and then this one I'll probably do it with the spirit, and then I'll probably end up burning it in the end. And watching the mechanism of how that sets the spirit free, because there, in theory, would still be an astral component to this. I don't know for how long, because it's not been around for that long. It's not like a house that's been there for like 200 years or anything. But all right, I don't know how long this has been. I've been talking for a bit, and about 30 some minutes. Then okay. All right. Well, I guess I just wanted to touch on this stuff a little bit, kind of give you guys an idea where I'm going, what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm still doing the 76-week Goetia. Those entries are going up onto my blog, and I'm still going to try to stick to a post every 4 days, but this is a 7-day thing, and it's going to get disrupted when I have to travel. So I'm going to try to do that, while also trying to do this, and also doing the work, and doing all the Malshan exercises every day, and it's a lot, but we're moving ahead. So there we go. Hope you found it interesting.